ASU-TV, and all the content is provided by the fine students of this university. Today, we're going to meet some of the students who are involved in ASU-TV to learn about how they became involved and about talking about the different shows they produce. Joining me in this segment is Easton John, a senior from Kansas City, Missouri, who was the station manager for ASU-TV, and Colby Thompson, a junior from Conway, Arkansas, who's one of the producers for ASU-TV. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Good
Thanks
to be
for having
here.
us.
So tell us about, very quickly, how you all came to Arkansas State.
Do you want me to start, Colby?
Sure. Go for
Okay,
it.
so when I came down to Arkansas State, I realized the ESPN program down here really caught my eye, and haven't looked back since.
Okay, Colby?
For me, it was a mix of wanting to be in like a media program and not just like a film program, but something a little bit broader, have a little bit more, variability in what I'm doing. And also, it's just A-State offers really good scholarships. So good to be here for that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Awesome. I'll give you a better answer. Don't worry.
No, that's fine. We were just doing a run through.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
What do I do with my hand?
Be like Ricky Bobby.
Okay. We're going to do another one? Oh, or just, I don't know. I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Cool. Sounds good.
Should I look into camera 3 or do I kind of pretend like it's not there?
Just
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just kind of.
Kind of facing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be facing y'all. And one of the things I was going to say about this is y'all feel free to just kind of bounce off. Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. And hello, everyone. Welcome to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Johnathan Reaves, Academic Advisor at Arkansas State. The show you're watching right now on cable or social media is a product of the 24-hour, 7 days a week, student-run, student-produced cable channel of the School of Media and Journalism, ASU-TV. There are many shows for everyone to watch on ASU-TV, and all the content is provided by the fine students of this university. Today, we're going to meet some of the students who are involved in ASU-TV to learn about how they become involved, along with talking about the different shows they produce. Joining me in this segment is Easton John, a senior from Kansas City, Missouri, who's the station manager for ASU-TV, and Colby Thompson, a junior from Conway, Arkansas, who's one of the producers for ASU-TV. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
I want to ask you both first, and Easton, we'll start with you. How did y'all come to Arkansas State?
Well, when I was touring Arkansas State back in 2019, I was just, it was crazy to see like how people just knew everybody. When I was walking on the tour, it seemed like everybody was friendly with each other and they all knew each other. And it was like one big family here. And so what also drew me here was Mr. Pillow. You know, he took me on a tour of the ESPN production truck. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was just great, and loved to see it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, we're talking about one of our great instructors, Mr. Colin Pillow, who's been kind of laid some of the groundwork for a lot of the TV stuff that we're still doing today. Colby, tell me about how you came to Arkansas State.
Yeah, so for me, it was I was looking for a media program, not just something that just did film, but I was just wanting something a little bit broader. And then also, Arkansas State offers a lot of really good scholarships. I think sometimes like the sticker price seems like it's going to be a little bit higher, but when you actually like get all the scholarships and things like that, it comes down really a lot, especially when I was looking at some like out-of-state options and things like that. This was a really good choice for me.
When you talk about choices, one of the things that we talk about when we're talking to students is experience counts. Mm-hmm. Tell us about how you all put students to work right immediately on ASU-TV, Easton.
Well, I'll answer this first, and when people first join ASU-TV, we try and make them feel as comfortable as possible when working equipment like this, and making sure that they know the necessary steps to successfully operate something, so that they're not confused, they're not panicking, and they're staying controlled, and they're taking a hold of the situation and capitalizing on it.
You know, what I really like is that it gives students the opportunity to be able to do just about whatever they want to do. And I know one of the things you've been working on, Colby, is working with students on different shows and different productions. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so we're actually like right nearby the set over there, but I work on a show called Walled. Basically, we bring together people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, and put them in an escape room. So basically, like, you might have like Christians and atheists, or Democrats and Republicans just working together in an escape room. But there's been also a really good opportunity to, get students involved on the show. Something I've really been trying to do with this go round of the show is, having other students who aren't members of staff but are there to like help me and assist me, and making sure they also feel like they're a part of the show and their decisions matter too. And so I'm actually working with two really great students, Ben and Hayden. They've been just really great help in making that show work. So we kind of have them. They're more like the producer roles, but then we also have students who, if they want a little bit less of a commitment, just showing up day of to help run cameras, or helping with the editing behind the scenes. It's, putting students work like that.
I think this is really interesting because students can really, if they want to put a show together and put it on ASU-TV, they can do that. And I think that's encouraged because the more content that you have, the better it is, because we want to have as much fresh content as possible. But Easton, I want to ask you about, kind of walk us through the process from show ideas to actually putting it on, kind of that creation process and the steps that go into that.
I would like to say that, you can't just walk in and just have your show ready to go right from the start. It starts with, with an idea, making sure you have a foundation that can consistently work through weeks. And if you have that idea and, you take the time to, process your ideas and put it down on a piece of paper and present it to me, then, we can get that show for you. And, if you have the right steps, if you take the right steps, then you can definitely have a show of your own.
So with this WALD program, that is really interesting, Colby, about that. How was it for you when you were saying, okay, I've got this idea, I want to put it down, but goodness, it's not easy to do something like that. Kind of tell us about that part of how WALD has evolved.
Yeah. So last year I actually worked on a show called Name of the Game. It was a kind of a reboot of a show that we'd previously done on ASU-TV. I changed it up a little bit, but it was a show we've already done before. And over the summer, I was in San Francisco. I was doing mission work and things like that. And just all of a sudden I was like, yo, this would be a really cool idea. And so I just messaged Easton and Mr. Sullivan over the summer, and they are really gracious to let me kind of change what I had been doing and move on to something new. And so, really grateful for that. But kind of how it started, it does take a lot of time, especially with something of this scale, to get everything ready. A big part of it was finding everything I needed for the set and things like that. We had to, paint a wall or two, and, think through marketing and finding people to be both on the show and help on the show, deciding what games we wanted to play, just a whole lot of, you don't think that a TV show would take as long as it does, because it's like a 20-minute program.
Right.
But there's a whole lot of behind the scenes that goes on to both making the day run well on set, but also editing and making sure that it's a good quality program.
Yeah, and bouncing on Colby's point, during the summer he reached out and let me know about this idea, and I just told him to convince me why this will work. And I had a pretty good feeling about Colby's ability, because he did work on a show called Name of the Game. He knows how to run a game show, so having WALD has been great, and he's definitely stepped up to the plate, and that's with all of our producers, honestly. With Red Wolf Roundtable as well, they're having their pregame show today, and that's a big deal for a big game with Arkansas State versus Troy, and it's just a lot of people are going to be there, and a lot of eyes are going to be watching. So I couldn't be more proud of our producers here.
When you're talking about, and the context is that game is going to be on national television on ESPNU. It's going to be the first time in many years that we've had that there from First National Bank Arena. So seeing this and how it runs on, from behind the scenes and that, does it give you all a greater appreciation for when you all are watching a live television thing on ESPN, or if you are watching, just shows in general, because you're now seeing how it ran on the back end?
Yeah, how everybody gets their ideas is from, they're inspired by people, and if you can just, take that idea, but not take it 100%, but just kind of put your twist on it, and just lay what they did as a foundation, and then you have to build it up yourself. I mean, that's going to be a successful show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of playing off what Easton says there. I mean, creativity doesn't happen in a vacuum. A lot of times, you have to, there's other things that are going to inspire what you're doing. Like for me, with WALD, I watch the channel Jubilee a lot on YouTube. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I really, really like this thing. So I wanted to make something similar to them, because they're very big on content that kind of talks about different issues and things like that, but also making it a little different and a little more, fun and things like that with the whole game show aspect.
So when you're bringing people together, and at the end of the show, what do you learn about this when you have Republicans and Democrats together, and that kind of what's your takeaway?
So for me, what's been really, really interesting is I think a lot of times we think oh my gosh, when I started this, it was okay, are we going to be able to do this? Are we going to end up in a whole bunch of controversy because of this? And really, when you get people together, and you say hey, we're just working together towards this common goal, and we're not trying to fight each other right now, people can really work together.
Sure.
Like they really can. And I think that's been really cool to see.
You know, and I think it's one of those things that when you break it all down, and I was in news for a long time, you know, people generally just want the same thing. They want, you know, good education for their children. They want to be able to hopefully have a good economy and all these other things. And I think that's what you're talking about here, is that when you can break it all down, we're just humans just trying to help one another.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, and just and going back on that, you know, you're at school. You know, you're here to learn. You're here to go to classes. But you know, our program allows you to escape from that and you know have a little bit of fun at college, because you know you don't want to. I mean, there's some people that want to keep their head in the books, which I respect that. But you know, there's people that want to have fun, and I feel like this is just a program where you can do whatever you want and you can just have fun doing it.
Well, the one thing I want to go back to what Colby had said on Wald is that you were doing the game show for a long time, the name of the game. I think it's really important for students to be able to just challenge themselves and being able to say, you know what, this is something else. I'm going to step out of that comfort zone. You could have very easily done another, you know, game show.
Yeah. I definitely would have been easy to just keep on going with that. But I think for me, it was just really important to lean into something that I felt like was a little bit more impactful and things like that. I mean, you know, I think name of the game was great. I enjoy it. Like I finally got a cable so I can watch ASU-TV in my dorm room, and it's like easy now.
Sure.
It's like basic, sorry. But, you know, being able to do something that I think aligns a little bit more with like my values and being able to bring people together, I think it's just a really big deal to me. You know, just having meaningful conversations and not just, you know, just playing a game.
And you know, you saw the clips on the TV. I mean, Colby designed that whole set by himself. We unfortunately do not have, you know, a typewriter and all that, but he went out and, you know, did that his own.
Shout out to my mom
Yeah,
for owning a lot
shout out to mom.
things.
Moms
It
are
was
always
great.
helping.
Moms are the best. Yeah.
And that's so it's crazy to see, you know, Colby capitalize on this idea, and it's been fun to watch.
You know, Easton, one thing I was wanting to ask you real fast is that now that you've been, you know, ASU TV station manager and that, have you thought about going into, you know, management and those kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, this position has taught me a lot about leadership, and that's the one thing that I've taken from it is, you know, how, you know, back then I was not that big of a leader looking back on it, and seeing where I am right now, I can, you know, comfortably say like management position, if I were to get that, I would feel very much comfortable than I would have a year ago. So yeah.
Colby, we got about a minute left. What about you and producing?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's been really great for me is getting one to just have like kind of a creative avenue to put things in, but also like kind of with leadership too. It's, you know, Easton's like leading the entire station, but every producer here has to lead a crew and a production and things like that. And so that's been really great for me to get some leadership experience there, and also just a lot of thought that I hadn't normally done into like pre-production and things like that, and that's been really great for that.
Members of the ASU-TV staff are joining us today on A-State Connections. When we come back, we'll be joined by other ASU-TV producers to hear about their experiences working on ASU-TV. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this.
When you say experience counts, it's experience that counts for a lifetime.
Boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted, this passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it. Quitting was never an option. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
and welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Johnathan Reaves. We continue talking about the great opportunities that ASU-TV has to offer to all students, faculty, and staff of Arkansas State. We're now joined by Ty Phillips, a senior from Harrison, Arkansas, who's a producer and co-host of ASU-TV Tonight, and Tristan Harlan, a junior from Cabot, Arkansas. Tristan is the sports producer for ASU-TV and co-host of Red Wolf Roundtable. And gentlemen, thanks for joining us here on A-State Connections.
Hey, man, I've been trying to get on the same screen with you for 3 years now, and I'm glad to do it today.
It has happened here, finally, and so that's fantastic. So I want to ask you both the same questions that I asked Colby and Easton. How'd y'all come to Arkansas State? Tristan, we'll start with you.
So I have been in a TV program like this since I was a sophomore in high school at Cabot. Originally, I was going to go to the University of Central Arkansas in Conway, but my teacher at the time, who's now retired, Mr. Chuck Massey, forever will be in debt with that man. What a great man he is. He told me, he said, son, if you want to make it big in this business, you need to go to Arkansas State. You know, you don't need to go out of state. You need to go be in Jonesboro. You need to go be a Red Wolf and hook up with the guys that are in the media program down there. So I took a tour here with Dr. Rollins, my mother and I. Shout out her for everything she's done for me. Took a tour with Dr. Rollins, and, you know, once I seen that, I fell in love with the place.
Yeah, Ty?
I was actually a transfer student. I went and did 2 years at community college back in Harrison, and I didn't even know I wanted to do, like, media. I worked for the radio station, but I had a teacher, and we built a, like, sports broadcasting program at my community college.
Right.
And he is an alumni from Arkansas State, and he said, hey, man, if you want to go, I mean, Arkansas State has it. So I got on a Zoom call with Mr. Sullivan and kind of looked at what this place has to offer. I was like, man, you really can't beat that experience. So shout out to my instructor, Mr. Mahoney.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So now you all are both here working on different shows and that, and I want to kind of go through those real fast. And actually, Ty, I want to start with you about ASU TV Tonight. Tell us about that.
So I'm a co-host for ASU TV Tonight, and it's more of a kind of a late night, kind of like, I mean, everyone's seen Jimmy Fallon. It kind of is similar aspects to that, where we have like fun games, or we have guests that come on and we talk about different stuff that's happening on campus, or we come up with like funny trends that are happening on social media. So it's very lighthearted, and it's just kind of a way to entertain the audience.
Very good. What have you enjoyed most about that show?
I would say just working with my partner, Easton John. He's just an incredible guy, and being able to kind of talk to him and like bounce ideas off, really just kind of networking. I would say that's like the most fun part about it.
But Tristan, let's talk about Red Wolf Roundtable and how you've been working on that.
Yeah, so Red Wolf Roundtable started off as a, you know, kind of a rebound foundation from what my co-host and I, Cooper Milder, did in high school, called the Panther Forum. We got to Arkansas State knowing, hey, we're both sports guys. We both love the craft. What can we do to kind of replicate that with the Arkansas State Red Wolves? And, you know, shout out Jacob Keene, sent me a group me message one night. Said, hey, I don't know if you know about this or not, but the show Red Wolf Roundtable hasn't been picked up, I think, in a year, so far that year. So I got with Cooper, and we started doing it. And, you know, at first it was kind of, you know, getting your feet wet, trying to understand everything. And now here we are, being on ESPN Plus broadcast twice. Shout out Brad Bobo for, you know, giving us that sort of rub. And now we're getting ready to do a pregame show, college game day style, for the Arkansas State-Troy game.
Yeah, you've been able to do numerous things there, and you know, the experiences are you know, once in a lifetime to be able to do that. You know, as you're getting, how has that helped you? Both of you, with your experiences, become better broadcasters, maybe be able to learn more about how has this helped in your respective fields? And Tristan, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Ty.
So there's a lot of things that I did not understand, like when I came in, because, you know, when you come in from sort of the stuff I was doing, I was thinking, okay, you know, it's just going to be like, you know, shower, rinse, and repeat, same deal. But no, like when I got here, it was kind of a rude awakening, because I had to start at the bottom, and I had to work my way back up. And, you know, just working the numerous ESPN broadcasts that I've worked with, Chase Weeks, Jake Williamson, A-State alumni, and people like that, like, I've been able to understand more about what a sports production is. You know, no discredit to Mr. Dustin Sullivan either, because he's been one of the best teachers at Arkansas State University to help me achieve my dream, and that's being a play-by-play commentator for somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said, just those ESPN broadcasts have really just changed my perspective of sports as a whole.
Ty?
I would say it's fairly similar to Tristan, just being able to kind of go make those connections. Like, I worked with ESPN, and then I've got to, like, for this tour game, I get to go, like, work utility for, like, the big ESPN truck that's coming in, and just really getting that help and those connections made by Mr. Sullivan. Just, like, he's going out of his way to, like, connect us and get us more involved in our field, and not just, like, because I came in wanting to be a sports play-by-play commentator, but then I know there's more to that in the sports production, and I feel like him, like, getting us out there and learning these different fields is what's so important.
You know, it's interesting whenever you see what you see when you're looking at a game on ESPN Plus and all that really is the back end of all the work that's done on the front end. And I know that was very eye-opening for you both to be. Can you all describe, you know, that and how it's kind of maybe changed your perspective on how games like these are put together for TV?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I do graphics for the Arkansas State ESPN broadcast, and man, I tell you, just the transition from late last year going into last baseball season to now, just the overall preparedness of it, whether it's doing Excel sheets for the expression machine, looking up storylines, understanding players' backgrounds, personalities, coaches' personalities. It's just one of those things that, you know, when you're growing up with your dad or your uncle, whoever that you watch sports with, you're like, oh, these guys and girls are superheroes and they're like once-in-a-lifetime athletes. And now, you know, here I am as a junior working with these people like an Izzy Higginbottom or like a, you know, whoever. And just the overall preparedness is one of those things that I don't think a lot of people understand about this.
Yeah, Ty?
I would say the preparedness, but also just kind of the work that goes in behind the scenes. Like, I worked camera, and then being able, like, you know, you'd have to know what player you're going to be shooting the most. Like, hey, this coach has this many games, so make sure to get, like, I mean, this is like a milestone game, make sure to get this. I mean, just kind of going in and, like, setting up everything, just like, because when I came in, I thought, like, a sports production was fairly easy, and I didn't know, like, how much preparedness and, like, preparation and work that went in behind the scenes. So just kind of coming in was very eye-opening.
Okay, so I'm going to date myself because I'll be 50 this year.
Don't look a day over 20.
Well, I appreciate that. That's another 20 that I owe you for saying that. So, you know, back in the 90s, when I would watch SportsCenter on ESPN, it was the dream team. To me, I thought it was a dream team of Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann. And they would, the way that they would interact with each other and set things up on SportsCenter. But it doesn't have to be them. You can pick any tag team on that and how they're just effortlessly rolling through video clips, describing plays, doing all that stuff. How is that, setting that up and kind of getting that ready? Can you explain what all goes into that? Because once again, you see the back end of it, you see the finished product, but all of that preparation, can you kind of describe what goes into that?
Yeah, so I've been fortunate enough to have kind of the same broadcast partner since I was sophomore, junior in high school, and his name's Cooper Melder, who couldn't be with us today. And, you know, sorry if I kind of tear up a little bit because it just shows how much work we've done together. But, you know, Cooper, he was able to, you know, stop playing football in high school. His dad was actually a coach on the Cabot football team. He came to start doing the broadcast with me. And one of those things when you're setting your partner up is you got to understand their cues, and they've got to understand yours. Whether it's, you know, I'm starting to slow down on my words a little bit so Cooper can pick it right back up and go faster or something along those lines it's just a cue that you have to understand with your partner, no matter who it is, no matter what you're talking about. The longer you do it with the same person, the more repetition you're going to get, and the better it will be. So just really the cues of knowing when someone's going to slow down, when someone's going to kind of use their body language to maybe not directly say, okay, Johnathan, let's look at this. They're kind of slowly turning to you and saying, you know, so-and-so's doing this on the fast break, and then so on and so forth.
Right. Yeah, Ty?
I would kind of piggyback off what Tristan said. You know, it's a lot about, like, getting the cues, but it's also about, like, kind of having that same energy with your partner. Because my partner is Easton John. I've only got to work with him for a couple games, and we were just kind of fortunate enough to have, like, a good energy lock there. I mean, we're pretty synced up, so, like, whenever one of us gets super hyped, the other one is able to kind of feed off that energy and continue on throughout the game. And I feel like that's something that, like, not everyone knows just watching.
So for the national televised game that's going to be tonight on ESPNU, how are y'all doing in the preparations? What are some of the ways that you all are going to get prepared for doing like a pregame?
So I've been kind of slowly preparing since 6 a.m. this morning. I kind of did a little bit last night after the ESPN Plus broadcast of the women's game versus Troy. But when the idea was brought up for the pregame show, it started in the back of my head thinking, okay, what can we do and what can we not do? And now it's, kind of going back and watching some old college game days with Kurt Herbstreit, Lee Corso, maybe not doing like a mascot head like Lee Corso does, but just the in-depthness of it and being able to fully break down a game to where even the person that's never seen a game of basketball in their life will be able to understand what this matchup means to both these teams. I mean, we're on the cusp of the Sun Belt Conference tournament in Pensacola, Florida. And there's no bigger game right now in the Sun Belt Conference than Troy versus Arkansas State because of what this game means to these teams. And if you want to know more, you just have to watch the pregame show to know more about it.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds good. I want to go back to ASU-TV for just a few seconds because I know, Ty, you have been a huge part of being able to put this together. How do you and Easton come up with story ideas? How do you all work on those different things and kind of get ready for the show and the show prep?
So we work, so our shows are normally on a Friday, and we prep the whole week. It normally, our ideas, me and Easton will call each other or text each other at random times of the day and say, okay, I got this crazy idea. Let's do it. And it's just kind of off the top of our domes. Like, we'll be walking, see each other in the union. We'll be like, hey, I have this idea. So once we kind of get an idea early in the week, we spend that week just trying to fill in those segments, get stuff going. And most of it is just like crazy stuff that's happened to us this week. Like, there's always something that's happened. Like, Easton went to the Kansas City parade when they won the Super Bowl. So it's just some crazy stuff that's happened to us throughout the week.
Yeah, and so I know that you all are doing this stuff on the front end, but how does the back end work? Because like right now, we've got technical directors, we've got people who are running the sound, people running graphics, doing other things. How does that work? Do you always pull in different students to be able to help with that, or how does that work?
Due to our time, it is kind of difficult on like a Friday to get those certain students at like the time that we do our show.
Sure.
So
right.
we're very fortunate enough to have staff like Tristan, Cooper, and Mr. Sullivan to kind of come in on their own time to help us with our production, getting everything kind of set up.
Yeah, but we could not do what we do without all those people kind of running in the back.
Absolutely.
There and doing
Absolutely.
all that stuff. So before I let you all run, because I know we're about to wrap this up, I really appreciate you all being here. Anything else you would like to add about what you all are doing or shows that are coming up? I know obviously you all are getting ready for the big pregame show tonight for Arkansas State and Troy. That'll be on ESPNU tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and this kind of just isn't about the pregame show, but this is about just the school media and journalism as a whole. And this goes out to any student that is kind of on the verge of saying, okay, well, I want to get involved, but I don't know what to do. I mean, Easton kind of talked about it perfectly earlier, but if you want to do it, come do it. You never know if it's going to work. You never know if it's not going to work. You don't know how it's going to go until you try. I mean, one of the biggest things for myself with Red Wolf Roundtable has been, okay, what if the Red Wolves don't do good in such and such sports or there's nothing to talk about? I mean, you just got to understand that 9 times out of 10, someone's going to want to hear what you have to say somewhere, some way, and even if it's just something funny. So if you want to get involved, just for sure, come do it. We have the best program in the nation.
Ty, we got about 30 seconds.
I mean, just piggyback off of them. Come do it. Just ask. You don't know if you never ask.
Very good. I hope you all see the reason why I love my job, and you all have been able to see these students here and what they're doing and the best ways that they're doing it. This is why I love what I'm doing, and I love these students so much, and I want to thank my guests who have been here today, Easton John, Colby Thompson, Ty Phillips, and Tristan Harlan. Thank you all for coming and being part of this. Also want to thank creative media production instructor Dustin Sullivan and the amazing students who are right now behind the scenes running the show today, doing a fantastic job. Also thanks to Jacob Keene and Timothy Arquette for their help on the show. Join us next week for another edition of A-State Connections on ASU TV. Thanks for watching, and so long, everyone.